college can dramatically change a young girl's life forever. So I have Chelsea Cross, host of Teen Talk Live, and our panel of sorority girls here to talk a little bit about that, and we're going to discuss some hot button issues in sorority life and college life. So I guess first let's dive right in. Well, welcome girls first, I guess. And let's dive right in and talk about sorority life. So tell me a little bit, I guess anyone can jump in, about sorority life and what it's like.
It's definitely an experience. A few of us lived in a house with about 40 girls, so it's difficult living with that many girls at once, especially when you're used to living with only 2 or 3, but it's a lot of fun.
So is there competition in that sort of environment? I can imagine, 40, you guys are beautiful women. What competition is there?
During Rush, there's definitely competition. Mm-hmm. It's awkward. But once you join the house that you fit in with, you just know. And once you're in there, at least with our experience, there was no competition once you're in the house.
Mm-hmm. So what is the dating life like in college?
It's interesting. Dating frat guys is very different than dating.
Do you think sorority girls go for fraternity boys? Is that, there's so many mixers.
I would say so. It's more of a little community, and everyone kind of dates in between. And it's really different in college because there's no dates that anyone goes on. It's more, do you want to go to this party with me? Or no one takes anyone out to dinner ever.
What about girls? How do you stick to girl code within a sorority house? Like, I hooked up with him, I have a crush on him. Who
could get messy.
Yeah. You're living with 40, but there's like 100 and something. How do you keep track?
Sorry. I think it all depends on how close you are with your sisters. It actually happened to me that one of my sorority sisters ended up hooking up with one of my ex-boyfriends, and then they dated for a little bit, which makes it a little bit uncomfortable and awkward, but in the long run, it's just if you're living with a close group of friends, you know what I mean? It's like the same deal. If you're all in high school together and your same group of friends starts dating other guys, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it just tends to happen.
I feel like sorority life, every night is a different themed event or a different ritual. So, how do you balance that with also having a relationship? I have a relationship and not in a sorority, and I have to make time for him, or I have to call him. So, how do you do that?
I think it's a lot of picking and choosing of what stuff you want to go to, and it can get hard at times, but I think you can manage it.
Too.
Yeah.
Let's not forget about school.
School and work.
Class. So
it might be sort of like balancing. Maybe if you were in a sports team, it'd be like sort of the same thing. You have to find that balance, right? Yeah. Well, actually, a really shocking statistic that I just found out is 1 out of 3 college students transmits an STD. That's crazy.
That's
1
a lot.
in 3.
Gosh,
I didn't know
That's
that.
a very good I didn't know that either.
What do you think that, I guess this is sort of just going off topic, but that sort of safe sex practices are being practiced in college? Are people being safe? Is there good education at college?
I wouldn't really say there's good education about that in college.
Really?
I think it's kind of a thing that you guys didn't know, that statistic.
Yeah.
Right.
There's your indicator.
You're exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in the dorms, they have one night where they have condom Olympics where everyone blows up the things. It's awareness, but that doesn't really translate into real life, I don't think.
Yeah, I think you're right. The fact that right here, you guys are all in college and may or may not be, getting intimate with your partners. But if you don't know that statistic, now that you know, you might be a little bit more careful, like in a situation if you were in that situation?
As a girl, I've been really careful about it. Because growing up, my mom always said, it's on you pretty much.
Right.
Like, it's your body, it's your... You're stuck with this decision you make, so
and
I think I've always been pretty cautious.
I think one thing nobody ever wants to do is, before I get intimate with you, have you been tested? And it's something that it only takes a second to ask, but, you have your whole lifetime to live that consequence if you don't ask that question. So, hopefully now that we all know the statistic, we'll think twice about it.
When I was in college, I was in a long-distance relationship from Massachusetts all the way to California.
Wow.
So, I know that sometimes it can be an issue for people to be faithful. I remember it being really hard for me not having someone there all the time. Do you see that a lot in school? People.
When I was at high school, college. I was in my senior year of high school. My boyfriend was a freshman in college, and we were Florida to Maryland. And trust was the biggest factor that made us break up. And I felt like towards the end I had more of a phone buddy than a boyfriend. And every phone call was who, what, where, when, why. And it's like if you don't have that trust and open communication within the relationship, it's just not going to work.
I used to date someone who was actually in a fraternity and he lived in there. And that was more of an issue because it's every night, all these girls coming over, and then that's, when you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, and the whole idea with trust nowadays, it's sort of the dynamic is changing with social networks. So we've talked about sororities and relationships. Now coming up next, we're going to delve into social networking, and we're going to see how social networks are affecting college students' lives today.